Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as we do a seedling tour of my winter sown milk jugs. So let's go. It is the end of April, and just this week I started going through all of the milk jugs and opening them up, and I made sure to give all of them some water. I noticed one or two of them actually looked pretty dry. So that's a cue for you also to make sure you're opening up your winter sown milk jugs, especially if the weather is heating up, because right now where I live, the daytime temperatures are generally around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That means it's a lot warmer inside these little mini greenhouses. It's critical to have them opened up during the daytime. And everything that you see here is perennials. And that means I don't need to close them up even if we're going to have freezing temperatures. However, if you winter sowed cold sensitive plants, marigolds or zinnias, anything that can't take a freeze, you want to make sure you are closing those milk jugs back up or covering them or protecting them somehow, because they will not survive most likely if you leave them open on a freezing night. And remember, keep watering these, because once you open them, they're going to dry out a lot faster, and it's very important to check them almost daily and keep them well watered. I made a video showing you my process for winter sowing. I'll put a link to that video down in the description below in case you're interested. What I like to do is I like to start all my annuals indoors under my LED shop lights. However, when it comes to perennial plants, it's my preference to start them using the winter sowing method. Many perennials require what's called a cold stratification period. So these plants are all naturally getting it when they're winter sown and left outside. They survive with the freezing cold, with the snow, you name it. What they like is they like that long period of cold. They do okay with the freeze-thaw cycle. It's amazing, but when you think about it, it's the same exact thing as a perennial dropping its seeds and then the seeds sprouting outdoors. The difference is we have a little more control over those seeds. And then you can prick them out and take those little seedlings, and you can do a couple of things. You can put the seedlings out in your landscape, which is really nice. Or what I like to do, because I have a backyard plant nursery, is I typically like to take the seedlings and I like to pot them up. I know that's one extra step, and it's definitely not something that a lot of people do, but I like to do that because I heavily sow my seeds in the effort that I have a lot of plants that I can sell as part of my backyard plant nursery. The final thing I want to mention, when you're looking at these milk jugs, keep in mind they are perennials. That means that when we're looking at them, they're not going to be a big, huge plant. A lot of times, if you winter sow something like a cool weather plant, straw flower, or bachelor's button, and you open up your winter sown container, it might be this tall, or even lettuce. You might have a nice big thing of lettuce. But when it comes to perennials, the perennials are, you're going to expect them. They're going to be very, very small right now, but they'll take off in no time. Typically, when you start perennials from seed, they don't bloom until at least the first, maybe even the second or third year. So just keep that in mind when you are starting perennials from seed. But what I love is you save so much money when you start your own perennials from seed, and you save even more money when you collect your own seeds, which is what I've done with almost all of these. These are seeds that I collected. I've made videos showing you how to collect seeds from perennials, and I'll also put a link to those videos down in the description below. So now the moment you've been waiting for. Let's go through these milk jugs and I'll show you what they look like. This whole entire row going down this way, these are all the milk jugs where they have seedlings that have sprouted. And that last row over there, those still don't have seedlings that have sprouted, or if they do, it's like one seedling that's sprouted. But don't give up on those because they might still sprout. It's still early. So I'm just going to leave those as is. I'll be checking them. I'll be watering them. But today we're just going to look through these milk jugs. And I'm only going to show you one milk jug. If I sowed like 8 of one kind of plant, I'm only going to show you one, but I'll tell you how many milk jugs I have of that particular plant. All right, let's get going. So I have 2 of these type of milk jugs, and they're labeled Agastache or Salvia. I'm not sure what they are. They're obviously seeds that I collected, and you can see that we have probably 4 or 5 little seedlings in here. And I have 3 milk jugs of Anise Hyssop, and you can see I very heavily sowed these seeds. I'm very excited that I have such great germination on this plant. And this one here, I collected the seeds from a community garden that I take care of, and I have 3 milk jugs of it, and it's called Artemesia Silver Brocade. And you can actually see that they're starting to get their first set of leaves, and they do have that little silver or grayish tinge to them, which is very pretty. I have 2 milk jugs of the purple colored balloon flower. And those are usually pretty slow when it comes to germination and, popping up. They just barely started popping up. And again, there might be more that are going to pop up at this point. So I'm just showing you at this point in time what seedlings have germinated so far, knowing that there might be more. In here we have balloon flower, and this is a white colored balloon flower. I have 12 milk jugs of the white balloon flower. And you can see there's like very good germination up here. But again, I believe that balloon flower is pretty slow to germinate. So they will pop up when they're ready. I clearly love balloon flower, and I clearly think that they're going to sell well as part of my backyard plant nursery. I have 7 milk jugs of a dwarf variety of a purple colored balloon flower. Great germination on those. I tell you, these seeds were super tiny, and the seedlings that are appearing are super tiny as well. But we do have germination. This is a cardinal flower. It's a type of lobelia, and it's red, so the hummingbirds love it. And I have the great blue lobelia in my yard. I don't have the red cardinal flower, so I should have plenty. And I have 2 milk jugs of these. This is a daylily, and it's a ruffled kind, and it's a near white. Near white daylilies are very hard to find. My friend Linda has a backyard plant nursery, and she hybridizes a lot of her iris and daylilies, and she was kind enough to give me these seeds. And so far, there are 4 seedlings that have sprouted in here. There were a few instances where I had planted seeds and I wasn't quite sure if the seeds were for one plant or another plant. And this is one of those cases. So this is 1 milk jug of, it's either a tall red Dianthus or it's going to be a baby blue delphinium. We'll have to wait and see as the plants get a little bit bigger. I have 8 milk jugs of different types of Echinacea. I have some short pink ones, I have some orange ones, I have some white ones, and I have some purple ones. They all look very similar to this container here that you're looking at, so I won't show you all of them, but I just wanted to let you know 8 milk jugs of different kinds of Echinacea, and they look marvelous. In here we have, it looks like 3 seedlings of false sunflower or Heliopsis. Hopefully we get some more, but if not, that's fine. Before I tell you what we're looking at here, I have to tell you that when I started opening the milk jugs the other day, there were spiders in some of them. It freaked me out. I'm going to put on the screen some of the spiders that were in one of the milk jugs, and I'm happy to say I'm not finding any so far. They were kind of big. Anyway, I have 4 milk jugs of Foxglove, and you can see they are very tiny right now. And I have different colors. I have white, I have peach, I have pink. So that's very exciting. In this milk jug, we have a tall pink mallow. And it looks like we have at least, looks like maybe 3 seedlings, possibly 4. I just love the leaves. I think they're very pretty. I have 3 milk jugs of Hollyhock Zebrina. And look how interesting the leaf structure is. I just think it's very cool. And if you look carefully between the 2 Hollyhock Zebrinas, you can see little weed seeds that are starting to germinate. And that's important. When you start looking at your plants, you start questioning, is that a plant or is it a weed? And I know from previous years that this happens, that you will get weed seeds coming in there. As long as you can distinguish the difference, you'll be okay. I bet some of you know what these are. If you guessed it and said lupine, you were correct. I have 4 milk jugs of lupine, and you can see that these are quite large already, and they don't like to be transplanted. So I will be potting these up very shortly because I want to make sure that they have a good chance of survival. I have some lupine out in my landscape that I winter sowed a number of years ago. I love it. I think it's so pretty. So I have a funny story. My friend Linda asked me if I wanted grape hyacinth or muscari seeds. And I'm like, sure, why not? Well, check it out. They all sprouted, and I have 2 milk jugs of them. And yeah, I know you can definitely take your grape hyacinths and easily divide the bulbs, but I thought this would just be kind of fun to see if it works, and it works. Who knows when these will ever bloom for me, but I'm excited that I actually got them to germinate. Pretty cool. I have one milk jug of obedient plant. Now, last year I grew a lot of obedient plant from seed, white as well as purple, and this one's the white one. So this year I specifically made sure not to plant too much obedient plant because I have plenty of seedlings in my plant nursery from last year. But that's exciting. I have a few plants there. I absolutely love poppies. My mother-in-law had California poppies, the nice orange colored poppies, and I have an area in my yard where they come back every year. I collected the seeds from them, so you can see we have quite a few California poppies here. Now, poppies have a taproot. They don't like to be disturbed when it comes to transplant, so you better believe that I'm going to be transplanting all my poppies very soon. This one here is Oriental Poppy, and it's just mixed colors of Oriental Poppies. And I have a ton of the Oriental Poppy that's a red-orange color. This is a Shirley Poppy, and it's called Angel's Choir. Quite a few in there. And here we have Lauren's Dark Grape Poppy. A lot of seedlings, so exciting. And what we're looking at here is called Amazing Gray. It's a corn poppy. And another poppy. This is Oriental Poppy, and it's called Brilliant Red. I have 5 milk jugs of the purple salvia, and they are actually still very, very small. So I'm just going to bring you in for a close-up look so you can see what they look like. Well, I only have a few here, but that's okay. A few is better than none. It's a Scabiosa, and I'm almost sure it's called Purple Night. When I collect my own seeds, I have a hard time knowing the exact names, so it's my best guess. I had so many sea holly seeds, and I really held myself back with sowing all those seeds. I only sowed 1 milk jug, and you can clearly see I still sowed a ton of seeds in the milk jug. The reason that I didn't want to sow more than this was because I have a ton of sea holly that I'm selling already in my plant nursery. Plus, I have a bunch of seedlings in one of my garden beds. But that's okay. Plenty of sea holly. I have 5 milk jugs of Shasta Daisy, and these are the regular type of Shasta Daisies. They're not the um, oxeye Shasta Daisy, and they're not like any special variety other than just the regular Shasta Daisy that you see. I really love Shasta Daisy, and it's a very popular plant in my backyard plant nursery. I have 5 milk jugs of the Sweet William. My dad loved Sweet William, so I really wanted to grow a lot of that. And these were seeds that I collected from plants that my sister-in-law had. And the first milk jug that I tried to get had that big spider in it. So I didn't take that milk jug. Anyway, 5 milk jugs of Sweet William. These seeds are still very small. It's pink turtlehead or Chelone. I have 5 milk jugs of it. And you can see that there are a lot of little seedlings in there. And I'm very excited about this plant. I got the seeds from my friend Linda because she had the plants, and I asked her specifically, when the plants go to seed, please let me get the seeds from it. So I will have lots of that plant, and I'm super excited about it. Okay, so I have 10 milk jugs where I basically said perennial, question mark, Shasta Daisy, Rebecca, I don't know what it is. So I wanted to get rid of the seeds. And so I planted up 10 different milk jugs with 10 different packets of seeds that were question mark. And this was one of them. And on this one, I specifically wrote Shasta Daisy, Black-Eyed Susan, Rebecca. So I actually think it's a mix of all 3 seeds. So that will be fun later in the season to see what's coming in those questionable milk jugs. So now we're all done. We looked at all of these milk jugs here. And remember, when it comes to this row of milk jugs down along this way, I am going to keep giving them water, and I'm going to continue checking them because it's still early and you never know. Something might germinate in these milk jugs. And there are definitely plants over here that I don't have any of those particular plants over on this side. So that tells me either nothing will happen for particular plants or they're just going to germinate when they're ready to germinate. And there you have it. I really hope you enjoyed this tour of all my milk jugs that we winter sowed together earlier in the winter. And I will keep you posted. I'll do another tour because over time, these plants will definitely get bigger. And I'll also show you my process for taking the plants out of the milk jugs. I'm going to start most likely with the lupine as well as the poppies. The poppies will probably go directly in the ground. The lupines, I'm thinking of just potting up, but definitely in a bigger pot because I know they don't like to have their roots disturbed. And I'll take you in on a separate video showing you my process for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you consider doing it, especially if you're enjoying this type of content. And if you do like this content, please hit the like button. If you have any questions or any comments, I'd love to hear from you. I always write back to anyone that writes me comments and questions. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.